Hello, and welcome to Every Day is Funny, the meditative morning show about newspaper comics. And this is a real doozy. It's a real corker of an episode. I mean, wowie zowie. Because perhaps you're just joining us as usual on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and if that is the case, thank you. But I should alert y'all to the fact that if you go to YouTube, we now are experiencing the first ever live, no, it's not live, first ever video recorded ep of Every Day is Funny. And we have a special guest to join us on this new endeavor, Steve Pips. Steve, how are you?
I'm doing well.
You tired? It's an early one.
It's early, yeah. I'm not an early morning person, but I'm not a morning person.
Well, that's a good first thing to tackle. Where do you land on the spectrum?
I'm not a morning person.
Hey, me.
I'm not a night person either. I just like my sleep.
You just don't seem to be a person then. You're just not. Is everything all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I do want to keep this consistent. First of all, we got to keep this consistent to previous episodes and still enjoyable for people not watching the video stream. This is an experiment. Maybe it'll fail spectacularly. I should say cheers with the coffee. And I have a list of questions for you before we dive into the comics. And maybe I'll keep these consistent from guest to guest. Maybe this is my James Lipton inside the Actors Studio questionnaire. But first up, I wanted to ask, what is meditation to you? The people are dying to know.
That's a tough question. I don't meditate,
Right?
but if I had to guess, if I had to put words to it,
Guess, it's your experience.
meditation is I don't know.
Well, you like film. You're a film fella. Maybe sitting
Yeah, it's
down
not
with
meditation.
maybe sitting down with a nice bucket of popcorn and scarfing that bad boy down, huh? Maybe that's what it is for you, huh?
Meditation is sitting in a dark, silent room or a dark shower.
Okay.
That's meditation.
So you're not a morning person. You're not a night person. And meditation to you is sitting alone in a dark shower. Are you clothed?
Yeah, you're like taking a shower, but it's a dark shower.
But you are clothed?
No, you're
All right,
taking
well,
a shower.
I don't want to get angry this early. I did say, are you clothed? And you said, yeah. Listen, I'm not out here to make enemies, but I'm just saying there was a discrepancy in your answer. Wow.
Apologies.
All right, well, that's fearful. But I'll take it as an answer. Second question. You know, on this show, I like to talk about taking meditative aim at things. And I think it's a nice platform to give guests to air their grievances in the morning before they start their day. It's kind of like my version of Festivus. So I have something that is not a... First, I'd like to share a thought that I've been having and get your reaction to it. And then you can air any meditative aims of yours. But what do you think about... Why are the only thing dedicated to people who die park benches? Why can't we get more diner booths dedicated to people? Why, like, the places they go, why is it always like a park bench that people don't take the time to acknowledge is even dedicated to someone? You have any thoughts on that one there?
That's a great question. I've never really
Is
thought
it?
about it. But you also just chose another place that someone might sit
Yeah, I
in
mean,
a diner booth.
yeah, I think they should be in places, because parks are, you know, entire parks are dedicated to people, but I'm talking about the objects.
Maybe this comes back to meditation, and they want you to sit and reflect on the good times with maybe not that dead person, but other dead people that you know.
all of the dead that you know.
Yeah.
Do you believe in ghosts? Do you believe that we could still hang with people who have park benches dedicated to them?
No.
All right.
Do you believe in ghosts?
I believe in like certain energies and something beyond the realm of human comprehension. Is that a ghost? I think it's too early to say. Too early in the morning for me to even fathom a ghost.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything you want to take meditative aim at this morning?
You know, this is gonna start to sound like me being an old man yelling at the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
People can't drive anymore. What happened to good drivers?
Sure.
People who put on blinkers.
Yeah, there's a lack of blinkers. This is true. But
You know,
I think this.
I think it's getting worse.
Do you think it's getting worse? I think we should have.
do.
I think we should have seen the warning signs when people stopped wearing suits on airplanes.
And they stopped letting us smoke on airplanes.
Yes, a lot of stuff happened on airplanes that changed how driving works now. Did you have a bad driving experience recently?
Yeah, I did. The guy...
I'm sorry to hear that.
a very overweight man in a red Lexus
All right,
and red
why
cars.
is that important?
Don't
to
even get
men-
me started.
Why do you have to mention that part?
Because it was the way he was sitting. It was his overall aura. You want to talk about energies.
Well, I think
It was his overall aura.
I bet I don't have a theory, but I'm having it now. This is me developing it in real time. I think that overweight people probably are more aggressive behind the wheel because it's the one spot they can be as nimble as other people. Steve, this is why listeners come to me with these kind of great... This is why I'm doing numbers, man.
Yeah, he was not like, an overweight, like a football player who's nimble and 300 pounds. He just was 300 pounds.
Yeah. He was... If he opened the window to yell at you, something would have spilled out of him. Some fat would have gone out. Anyway, this is a chilled show. But wait, what do you think is the real reason or real moment that things started to go downhill, and why with driving?
I think it was the slow build. I think it was...
Mm-hmm. What a cop-out answer.
No,
I
it was
think
much like,
I think many factors had their hand in making its way to a rolling snowball of effect that eventually took place.
I think it's the same idea as to kind of like within society, our acceptance of what might be gross or overly sexual or violent has gotten, the threshold has grown
Mm-hmm.
since even like the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with that degeneration, as you might say, I think it's just become an accepted area where behind a wheel we have this power, and so we're just going to exploit that power, and no one's going to tell me no.
I have always wondered if we all, in the vein of what you're saying, if we all drove invisible cars like Wonder Woman, would we still do that? Because we'd be able to see everybody a lot closer, and you'd have to put a face to the anonymous automobile. And I don't think we would be as dangerous on the road.
Not a chance.
Also, we wouldn't
then
see the
you wouldn't-
cars, and you might hit them easier. Yes, I knew what you were going to say. I am no fool, but also quite an idiot.
Well, also, you not only you wouldn't see the cars and you might hit them easier, you wouldn't be using your BMW energy as like the shield for drive. Like you wouldn't have the car logo to say like, oh, I'm driving this nice car. Watch me go faster.
Do you think if Wonder Woman was able to show the brand make she would have had more of an ego flying in the skies?
Absolutely. The Batmobile's sweet.
Yeah, that's a good
Like,
point.
if the Batmobile was invisible, it wouldn't have the same cachet.
That's a really good point. Wow. I had one other. Also, I should mention. Well, I'll do it after the thing. I forgot to mention. There's a reason you're here. We host a show together. We were supposed to plug that. Anyway,
We could.
we'll plug it at the end. Now getting into comics. That was the section of the show where I throw out my hard hitting questions. But what is your relationship with newspaper comics? Before we read one or two.
I love comics. I don't read them much anymore, but as a kid, my dad worked in newspapers, and so there was always a newspaper around.
Mm-hmm.
So every day before school, my sister and I would read the funny pages, and
What a-
then every Sunday it was like a big event because they were color.
Yep.
They're normally just like the sketch black and white. They were color. It was awesome. And I grew to love a couple comic strips like Zitz, Baby Blues, Foxtrot, among others. And then I'd have my favorites that weren't like, that I just enjoyed every Sunday but wouldn't actually like purchase a book of them.
Do you think favorites? I'm interested in what made one of those your favorites. Was it characters, drawing style? What about those specific, say like a Foxtrot?
Characters.
Was it the things they were doing?
It's all of it. Bill Amend never said where that family is from,
Like Simpsons?
but to me, they're very clearly Midwestern, or I ascribe them to be Midwestern. And it's three kids. You know, Jason is 10, Peter was 16, Paige was in that high school range, and so it was like people that I was age appropriate with and just connected with their hijinks.
I realized you coming out with specific character names makes me realize how little I know about any comic and why I shouldn't be doing the show. Like you just demonstrated, you're a better person to do this. I've never known any character names, but that's interesting. Because I have some favorites in the comic space, but I don't know. I feel like Family Circus is in there just because it's very compact and something I saw a lot as a kid. I like just like the one drawing, one line kind of joke.
I mean, I owned 5+ collections of Foxtrot and Zitz comics and Far Side comics.
I did want to read Foxtrot today, but I think they only release every like Thursday or Friday now.
He's released only on Sundays since 2006.
Okay, so, and
I didn't know the date, but I did look that up.
You did research before this? But so I had just reacted to the one a few days ago, so we don't have a new one. But I do have some Blondie to start off with. How do you feel about Blondie?
Blondie's great.
Okay, let's try it. Now this is where things get experimental. I'm gonna share my screen for the people who are listening. And if you are listening on Spotify, I think it'd be nice to like try going to YouTube and checking this out. All right, Steve, could you confirm that we can see this comic?
Oh, we're seeing Blondie.
Beautiful. All right, I will read it and we will discuss. Now, Dagwood is going to the barber. The barber is on either an iPad or a Ziosk. I'll say iPad. And he says, "You're a few minutes early, Dag. Hang on. You're in for a real treat. I've been researching some trendy hairstyling ideas I want to try out on someone." Okay, your immediate reaction to that?
Comics are not supposed to be laugh out loud funny. They're just supposed to be slice of life funny.
But
I think Blondie is hit or miss, and this one is a bit of a miss.
what about it?
Because
Because I agree with you.
Well, that's like a common fear. It's like I don't like getting my hair cut because I don't like to explain how I want my hair to look.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone was looking in a magazine and was like, "Hey, I have some ideas. I want to try this out on you," I'd be like, that same kind of silent, wide-eyed look
Mm-hmm.
that Dagwood has. I'd be like, I don't trust you. I don't want to do this. How much trust are we supposed to put in with our hairstylists?
Well, I do think we tend to have to put a lot of trust in our hairstylists. I want to zoom in here to see what these hairstyles are, but it doesn't seem to be working. But they don't seem anything too outrageous, except perhaps sort of a mullet rocking vibe down here.
Well, they'd be some black lines on a head, as you know, is the. I think he could use a new hairstyle.
Yeah, that's true. You know what I was thinking looking at this? Like,
Not to hate, but
no, this is take meditative aim on this show. We don't use the word hate. But what it seems like this guy also has been lounging around for a while. Like he doesn't have a lot of clients. I feel like that's the more worrying part.
yeah.
He's not.
What about those pants?
the pants?
Those are great pants.
Yeah, I highly recommend everyone take a look at these pants. They are. I don't think a barber's ever worn them. But
Ever.
how would you describe? They're kind of clown pants.
They look like baby blue black polka dot joggers.
Jesus, that was specific. And what is up with like this white shirt? Why is that such a barber kind of vibe? Like an oversized white
It's smockish.
smockish.
Yeah.
And he's got a highlighter here. All right,
It's for highlights.
the magazine. Oh,
No, highlights in your hair.
all right. Let's go on to the family circus. This heading gives such a religious impression that I don't tend to get from the family circus, but perhaps it is a bit of a religious comic.
I think the family circus is very. It's not outwardly like be Catholic, but it's more like we focus on the golden rule and things, the good parts of religion, where it's telling you to treat people well and
Yes.
all that crap.
All right, so we have the two of the children of the family picking some flowers. And I believe the daughter says to the son, "They're not dandy tigers, Jeffy. They're dandelions. Dandy tigers have stripes."
That's great.
That's great.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a conversation that Jeff Keane might have heard in a park one day, or that his own kids, if he has kids, have said.
Mhm.
And he was like, that's clever, because kids, when you're walking down the street and you just like hear a child talking to their parent or something, and it's like,
I've seen you doing
Kids
that,
just
and
say-
I've always wondered why you were like following them for a long time, doing that, stooping down with a cone to your ear.
it's research. Kids say fascinating things because they just don't have as much knowledge of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so they just have this lack of inhibition on what they say, and it's like funny. It's things you might not be like perceiving within the world. I think it's really interesting.
Well, they say it from her point of view here, as if she's responding to him, and he said dandy tigers, like as if he misnomered them. Do you think that's the case of what happened?
Yeah.
That was the
And it's
most
probably because
most grim, yeah.
I think because he probably was like reading a book about tigers or something, and he just is a young kid, and so he just like said tiger instead of lion.
That's sad that he can't learn properly. All right, let's close things off with some Rex Morgan, MD. Now, Steve, do you happen to know where we're at in the Rex Morgan saga?
Some kid has been being bullied.
Okay. Yes, there is a child named Parker who has been dealing with a bully for the last week and a half, and
He's not even like a main character.
Correct. And the bully is a new kid in school and has just been repeating the same insults, hoping that Parker takes a swing at him. But Parker's very nonviolent, and so it's just resulted in the same back and forth kind of pushing, and nothing's been happening. So let's see if that's still the case today. What day is today? Oh, the 13th. This is the other problem, as I've mentioned before. They let you see ahead of time, which I don't care for.
Oh.
Okay, here we go. We are still in the confrontation, but now students are back surveying the scene in the background. The bully says, "Come on, you pudgy little weirdo. Take your best shot." Parker says, "I'm not doing this." Finally, Mr. Dawson, who we saw 2 days ago teaching Corey, comes in to the scene. He says, "Hey, what's going on here? Why aren't you kids in class?" Parker thinks, "Thank goodness, Mr. Dawson." So it's been about a week of back and forth abuse by the bully trying to make something happen. And now a week later, it seems we are not going to get a physical confrontation. Mr. Dawson has come in and left his classroom unattended, I should say, to put a stop to this scene. Now, I don't know if you've read Rex Morgan along through the podcast, but what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's really tough to tell a serialized story in 2 panels a day.
Sure.
That's, this one, it's all right. It's fine. Nothing is really happening, but we are coming to a conclusion of this back and forth that seems to have been plaguing you.
Me?
And yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to move on. We're going to get out of this. We're going to get some conclusion in the next couple days. But again, because it's only 2 panels, tomorrow could be them both vamping to the teacher.
It will be 100%. It'll be.
We could have that for 2 more days.
I think it's gonna be the bully trying to say he wasn't being a bully, and then Parker not being sure if they should tell on the bully, and it'll probably continue like that.
Yeah, because then he's gonna get it.
Yeah, well then
if he tells on the bully.
The bully's gonna come back in the next day. I do wonder when we're gonna get back to the titular Morgan family, and what it will take to properly end this storyline for the author to feel like, yeah, let's go back to the Morgan family now.
What's his name, Parker?
Mm-hmm.
What if this is slowly becoming no longer Rex Morgan MD, but Parker HS High School?
You think after 70 or whatever years, the author is finally going to go, you know what, let's make it Parker HS. Let's make it after the most annoying character in this universe that everyone hates. Because I will say, get into the comments, people are not a fan of Parker.
Well, that's just, he's a child. He's a high schooler. He has no say in what he is.
Well, he does have a say, and they are non-binary.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, so they do have
Parker
a say. Yeah. So
oh, wow.
They do
That's good.
They do have a say in that regard. Okay, David Ricard, who is a well-known commenter on these forums, comes from the point of view of Mr. Dawson saying, "I won't have any of this rumbling in my halls," drags them to the gym, hands them gloves and mouth guards, then starts reciting the Marquess of Queensberry rules. Do you know what that means?
No, but I assume it's some sort of dual boxing, old school English.
Okay. Do you have any ideas of what we could comment? Maybe something about Mr. Dawson leaving his class unattended?
I like that.
All right, let's think.
Where's
on this.
Mr. Dawson's hall pass?
Ooh. Should Parker say that, or should...
Parker seems, as you say, what's the pacifist?
Oh, yeah, Parker's a pacifist.
Non-violent. Yeah, so I don't think he'd say that.
He wouldn't be a little snitch? All right.
Maybe he'd think it. Just dot 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 in his thought bubble. He would think it.
Parker Thought Bubble. Thank,
I think you're better at this than I am.
Thank the Lordy. You know how Parker talks in their head? Thank the Lordy, Mr. Dawson has arrived. But wherever is his hall pass for leaving comments? Send. Beautiful. Well, that was a good look at some comics. And I did previously mention I do want to promote the show that we're both working on. Podcast, now available on Spotify. Is it on Apple Music yet?
Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, Apple Podcasts. It's on there?
Yeah.
That's great. And
We don't get many listeners on there, but it's on there.
well, maybe that'll change now. But this is the Spoofcast, where we review spoof movies. Our most recent episode just came out. It is about Scary Movie 1 with Anna Faris. Is there anything else you'd like to say about the show?
It's a great time, you know. We typically watch documentaries and higher brow movies, so this is a nice adventure into schlock.
An Adventure into Schlock maybe would have been a better title.
Yeah. There's still time.
Yeah, we're only 3 in. But, all right, well, I think we should wrap this up for Thursday, June 13th, the first ever video recording of Every Day is Funny. Steve, thanks so much for joining us, being the inaugural web chat guest. And, yeah, anything else you want to add before we sign off?
Have a few laughs today.
That's beautiful. All right, go out, have a few laughs, and remember, every day is funny.